I am Madam Gracious Kanzieni from Educare TZ. Warmly welcome in our media, Educare TZ, whereby there is a lot of material discussed. Today we are going to run on our chemistry subject, and our class level is Form 3, and we are making the revision. We are discussing the different questions, and we are going to discuss the question on our topic known as extraction and the properties of metal. So my online student, for today we are making a continuation for our question number 13. We are making a continuation, so make sure you have a good follow-up so as you can able to master and learn all the discussed question from the beginning, question number 1 up to question number 13. Okay, first of all, let us see the requirement of the question so as we can discuss our responses. The question states that suggest the ways which can be used to minimize environmental pollution due to liquid and solid waste from mining. Remember, we are dealing with the extraction and the properties of metal. So all the concern in this topic is how the metals or the minerals are extracted. Kwa namna nyingine ni namna madini yanavyochimbwa and so forth. So here when we talk about mining, no different with the extraction. So during extraction there is a lot of waste produced, particularly there is solid waste, there is liquid waste as well as gaseous waste. So here in our question we are required to suggest ways which will be the best so as we can able to minimize environmental pollution. Na hapa kwenye environmental pollution it can be either air pollution, land pollution or water pollution. But the aim is to make a suggestion to propose some ways which will be suitable to ensure that there is a minimal production or the prevention of those wastes, particularly liquid and solid waste ambazo zinapatikana kulingana na shughuli nzima za uchimbaji wa madini au tunasema extraction of metals. So my student, I hope the question is very clear now. Question can appear in section C of your examination, and you always cover the 15 marks. So this question needs you to be subjective. You have to provide your idea, your opinion, your understanding, and so forth. Okay, now my student, we can start to see our responses, and that is our purpose why we are making this discussion, is to provide the correct response for you, but to ensure you as a student you can able how to provide those correct response. Okay, question number 13, ways to minimize environmental pollution. So due to the liquid and solid wastes from mining, the first way which can be used this is to make to avoid or to present or to minimize those wastes is implementing effective waste management practices. Implementing effective waste management practices. This is like a strategy, mbinu mojawapo ya kudhibiti hizo waste practices. I mean waste management practices, vitendo vile ambavyo vinahusisha ule manage au utunzaji wa mazingira kwa kuhakikisha kwamba kunakuwa na implementation ya njia nzuri za kumanage zile kind of wastes. Kwa hiyo through implementing this effective waste management practices will help to minimize those wastes, liquid waste and solid waste toward the environment, which probably will lead to the environmental pollution. So to minimize environmental pollution from the mining, it is crucial to establish comprehensive waste management practices. So now let us see those waste management practices. The first one is waste segregation. Kwamba kumbuka tunaongelea implementation of effective waste management practices. There is a lot of practices, vitendo ambavyo vitakuwa employed ambavyo kupitia hivyo vitendo au kupitia hizo njia zitasaidia kuhakikisha kwamba there is a prevention of those spread of those wastes to the environment, ambayo itapelekea environmental pollution. So waste segregation, hii ni kitendo cha kwanza au tunaweza kusema ni main practice which will help to minimize those wastes from the mining. So when we talk about waste segregation, simply we know that separating hazardous and non-hazardous wasting at the source can significantly reduce the potential for contamination. Tunafanya segregate, au in other way we can say separation. Kumbuka swali letu amegusia kwenye liquid waste and solid waste. Solid waste ni zile waste ambazo ni difficult to decompose. Kwa mfano chupa ukitupa hapo itakuwa hapo inact kama pollutant kwenye land. Itaumiza watu, ita affect vitu and so forth, lakini ni ngumu kudecompose. Lakini tunapoongelea zile liquid, tunaongelea zile pollutant ambazo zenyewe ziko katika hali ya umiminika na zile zinaleta madhara, magonjwa, zinachafua vyanzo vya maji and so forth, zinapelekea kuzaliana kwa those bacteria au wadudu mbalimbali ambao wanapelekea magonjwa and so forth. So you can see that through hazardous segregation, we can say that separating hazardous and non-hazardous waste, kuna zile taka ambazo ni hatarishi na zile ambazo somehow not hazardous to the extent we can say hazardous and non-hazardous. So we have to make segregation, we have to separate it. So separating this reduce the potential for contamination, mean that zile taka ambazo zenyewe sio ambazo zenyewe hazina zile chemical in such zita save endapo zimekuwa spread to the environment. Lakini pia kama tumeweza kufanya separation, lakini tukizicombine zote itakuwa ni ngumu kumanage waste, lakini pia itakuwa ni ngumu kufanya treatment ya those waste, na finally itakuwa inapelekea madhara katika environment. So by identifying which material pose a risk, mining operation can handle them appropriately. So through the separation, this mining can able now to mining activities, through the operation of mining wanaweza kujua kwamba okay, this kind of waste ina harmful or ni hazardous, kwa hiyo itawasaidia kuhandle it. It will help them to handle because they know this kind of waste zinapelekea certain risk and so forth. Another practice for waste management is recycling and reuse. Recycling and reuse. Kitu kinatumika tena. Kinatumika kinachakatiwa, kinachakatwa, kinakuwa kipya, kinatumika tena. That is recycling and reuse. So encouraging the recycling of materials such as metals and plastic can reduce the volume of solid waste generated. Kwa hiyo kama kutakuwa na encouragement practice of recycling of those solid waste, it will save in the environmental protection, simply because you can see that those solid wastes after being used zinafanywa recycle, zinakuwa reused again. Particularly you can see those bottles zinatumika, zinatupwa kama takataka, lakini zinaokotwa tena, zinachakatwa upya, zinakuwa reused again. So hii hapa inasaidia kureduce the volume, ule wingi wa taka ambazo zipo katika nature solid zinakuwa minimized kwenye environment. Additionally, you can see that reusing water in mining process can minimize liquid waste. You can see that those liquid wastes or liquids, they can be treated toward the field of the mining, then it can be reused again. Kwa hiyo instead of dumping or spreading those liquids to the environment, they can reuse it, they can treat it and reuse again. Hence inasaidia katika swala zima la kuminimize the liquid waste. Another practice is the proper disposal method. Kumbuka hapa tunaongelea implementation of effective waste management practices. Kwa hiyo hivi vyote ni vitendo ambavyo vikitumika tutaweza kumanage. Okay, proper disposal method. Hapo kwenye proper disposal method tunaongelea zile methodi za utupaji taka. Kwamba Utilizing the landfills designed for hazardous waste or incineration facilitate that facilities that meet environmental standard ensures that solid waste do not leach harmful substance in the environment. Kwamba kuna zile incinerations lakini kuna landfills, watu wanachimba mashimo, yale mashimo yanakuwa special kwa ajili ya kuweka takataka. Lakini pia kuna zile incinerators. Incinerators, you a student, you can observe them, particularly you can see in some of the schools there is incinerators, wanajenga kama kijumba fulani. Kwa hiyo unakuta some of the waste zinakuwa disposed pale, zinatupwa pale, wanatumia means ya kuzichoma, hata kama haziungui kwa haraka, lakini kupitia kile incinerator au kile kimfumo ambacho wamekijenga, zinakuwa zinateketea taratibu, lakini pia zinakuwa zipo protected as we spread from each other. So through using this proper disposal method, it will help to minimize those wastes. But another way or another best way which can help in minimizing the environmental pollution kwa kufanya management katika those wastes, solid waste and liquid waste katika mining is treatment of liquid waste. Pointi ya kwanza tulikuwa tunaongelea implementing effective waste management practices. Tumeona hivyo vitendo vyote, recycling, tumeona hizo proper method disposal, tumeona segregation of the wastes, how to separate those hazardous and non-hazardous. Lakini pia kuna hii hapa method nyingine ambayo ni treatment of liquid waste. So those liquid wastes should be treated on how? You can see that liquid waste from mining operation often contain heavy metals and other pollutants. Kwamba those liquid waste from the mining activities zinakuwa contain some of the metals, particularly heavy metal. Kuna lead, kuna mercury, and some of them are harmful. So you can see that it should be treated because they are made up of some pollutants. So to mitigate their impact, several treatment methods can be employed. So in order to reduce their impact to the environment, so you can see that kwa sababu zile liquid water zimekuwa associated with those hazardous chemicals or those heavy metals, they treat them, they treat it before spreading to the environment, so as they can able to minimize environmental pollution. Another one is water treatment system. Water treatment system, kwamba kuwe na mifumo sahihi ya kutreat zile water. Installing advanced water treatment system such as reverse osmosis or ion exchange can effectively remove contaminants from wastewater before it is discharged into natural. Another best way is water treatment systems, kwamba kuwe na systems za kufanya treatment za water from the mining, au tunaweza kusema kwamba vile vyanzo vya maji. So there should be those systems which will save for treatment. Particularly you can see that installing the advanced water treatment system such as the reverse osmosis or ion exchange can effectively remove contaminant from wastewater before it is discharged into natural water bodies. So you can see that through installation of those systems which can serve as a treatment, particularly kuna hii reverse osmosis au kuna ion exchange, ambapo kunakuwa na some of the ion which are available in the water and somehow act at the hard water. So we can use those ion exchangers. We can employ some ion exchanger technique so as we can able to make that water safe by exchanging their ion. Maybe tuna replace the sodium ion and so forth. Lakini pia kuna hii reverse osmosis. Hii pia ni technique ambayo inatumika katika treatment of water. So you can see that this water, once treated before distributed to the water bodies, itasave katika swala nzima la kuavoid the environmental pollution, particularly water pollution. But another is constructed wetlands. Constructed wetlands. What does it mean? Kwamba another best way which can help to minimize the environmental pollution so is to ensure that the mining activities, the liquid waste zinakuwa tunaweza kuminimize madhara yake kwenye environment. We can use this constructed wetland. Constructed wetland, hii tunaongelea the natural system which utilize the plants and the microorganisms to filter pollutants from waste water. Kwa hiyo hii ni natural system ambayo inautilize the plants and the microorganisms for the purpose of filtering the pollutant from waste water, and therefore providing an eco-friendly solution for treating liquid waste. Kwamba you can see that kama kuna kuwa na constructed za hizo wetland, it will be easy to treat such kind of water compared to those waste or liquid water from the mining activity zimekuwa disposed direct to the water bodies, and you want to treat water bodies, itakuwa ni ngumu sana. Yale maji, baadhi ya maji yatakuwa yameshakuwa affected. Lakini kama construct hizi wetland then ukazitreat before, it will save katika treating those liquids. Another is neutralization process. Another best way is neutralization process. We make neutralization. We neutralize different substances which are available in those liquid wastes. So you can see that for acidic or alkaline influence, neutralization with the appropriate chemicals can help bring pH level back to neutral before discharge. Kwamba tunafanya neutralization. So you can see that some of the pollutants, they are in form of acidic or maybe alkaline. So the neutralization once take place will save so as we can, the purpose is to ensure that tunahakikisha kunakuwa na minimal environmental pollution kulingana na zile kind of wastes ambazo zinazalishwa kwenye mining field or mining activity. But also another best way is adoption of sustainable mining technique. Adoption, mtu anakuambia adopt. So we have to make this adoption katika sustainable mining technology. What does it mean? So the integration of sustainable technologies in mining operation can greatly reduce both liquid and solid waste generation. Kwamba we have to adopt the technology katika mining activity, katika this issue of waste, particularly both liquid waste and solid wastes. So now let us see those processes or those adoption of sustainable mining technologies which can be employed. First one is the drying processing technique. Katika adopting of sustainable mining technology, tunaweza tukatumia drying processing technique. Drying processing technique. So you can see that utilizing drying processing method instead of traditional wet method reduce water usage and minimize liquid waste production. Kwamba tunapotumia hii technique ya kufanya drying process, so you can see that instead of using the traditional method ambazo obvious zina produce a lot of liquid waste or a lot of wastes wakati wa kufanya extraction or mining process, we can see that to employ some of the technologies, particularly here drying process technique, ambapo utaona kwamba kutakuwa na some of the drying liquid wastes. So hii itasaidia kureduce ile large volume production of those liquid waste. Kwa hiyo utakuja kuona kwamba kutakuwa na it will minimize au it will reduce water usage Kama tutatumia mitambo au system ambazo zimekuwa advanced, which based on technology, it will save katika reduces water usage, lakini pia this will minimize liquid waste production. Nakumbuka our target is to ensure that tuna protect the environmental pollution kupitia those mining or extraction processing. Another is innovative extraction method. Hizi pia bado ni hizo sustainable mining technologies, adoption of sustainable mining technology. Nyingine tunaweza tukatumia au tukaemploy innovative extraction method, kwamba ile extraction of the mineral inakuwa ipo katika innovative way, au tunatumia zile mbinu za kisasa zaidi. Particularly you can see that the techniques such as bioleaching use microorganisms to extract minerals, generating less waste compared to conventional extraction method. Kwa utaona kwamba kuna baadhi ya method au technique zikitumika zina generate kind of waste in a minimal way. So it is better to employ those innovative extraction method, so as we can able to ensure that tuna protect the environmental pollution from this field or from these mining activities. Another point, which is the best method to ensure that tuna protect the environmental pollution from the mining activity, is monitoring and regulation compliance. Monitoring and regulation compliance, kwamba lazima kuwe na sheria na kanuni, lazima kukizi sheria na kanuni mbalimbali. Hamna tu taasisi yoyote ile au hamna field yoyote ile ambayo itakuwa ina run the activity without the regulation. There must be a guideline, there must be a procedures to follow, kwamba lazima kuwe na sheria na kanuni za kufata katika hiyo shughuli, particularly katika mining. For instance, you can see that regular monitoring of waste management practice is essential for minimizing pollution. Kwamba kuwe na hiyo monitoring na regulation compliances. So you can see that kuwe na ile regular monitoring of waste management, kwa kunakuwa na ukaguzi wa mara kwa mara kuhusiana na how waste can be managed and so forth. Na hii hapa ni essential kwa ajili ya kuensure that ina minimize the pollution. But also environmental impact assessment. Environmental impact assessment. So through conducting through environmental impact assessment before commencing mining activity help us identify potential environmental risk associated with the waste disposal. Kwamba before the mining activity starts to be conducted, utaona kwamba wana consider ile environment assessment, wana assess, je, hii shughuli itazalisha maybe a certain kind of risk, kunakuwa na some of the risks zitatokea. Kwa hiyo wanafanya assessment, je, hizi risks zitakuwa mitigate kwa namna gani, zitakuwa control kwa namna gani, zitakuwa reduce kwa namna gani. Kwa hiyo wanafanya ile assessment, huu mradi unataka kujenga hapa, je, utaleta madhara gani kwenye mazingira, what kind of the risk will be produced or will be raised kulingana na huo mradi, particularly for mining. So through this environmental impact assessment, it will serve the best way to ensure that kunakuwa na minimal environmental pollution kulingana na kazi za mining au extraction activities. But also when we talk about compliance with the regulation here, tunaangalia ile adhering, kwamba lazima utii sheria fulani, kwamba you can see that adhering to the local and international regulation regarding waste management ensure that mining companies operate within established environmental standard. Kwamba kunakuwa na hii adhering to the local and international regulation. Kunakuwa na international regulation lakini pia local regulation. Kwa hiyo utaona kwamba the mining activity are conducted, but they adhere a certain regulation which ensure that there is environmental protection. So that is all about. Kwa hiyo lazima hizi companies mbalimbali ziadhere the environmental standard, lazima zifikie ile standard ya kuhakikisha kwamba wanatunza mazingira licha ya shughuli zinazofanyika pale. Another best way which can help to maintain the environmental or to ensure that no environmental pollution depending on the mining activity is community engagement and education. Lazima uhusishe jamii, lakini pia lazima elimu itolewe. How? You can see that engaging local communities in discussion about mining practice foster transparency and accountability. Watu wanakuwa na uwazi, wanaelewa what's going on, lakini pia inapelekea ile uwajibikaji. Watu wanawajibika kulingana na zile shughuli ambazo zinakuwa conducted toward their community. Another is the public awareness campaigns. Campaigns, public awareness campaigns, kwamba kuwe na zile kampeni ambazo ni public na zinajulikana na kila mtu. For instance, educating communities about the impact of mining related pollution encourages collective action toward sustainable practice. Watu wanaelimishwa kwamba uchimbaji wa madini una madhara haya na haya, kwa hiyo wanakuwa aware na wanakuwa tayari kutoa ile support katika kufanya katika kutunza mazingira au katika kuhakikisha kwamba kuna jambo fulani au kuna shida fulani wanatakiwa wai minimize au wai control. Kwa hiyo unaona kwamba kuna ushirikiano kwa sababu kuna public awareness campaigns. Campaigns zinakuwa zinaelimisha watu wanakuwa aware with the different issues related to the mining activity. But also stakeholders involvement. Stakeholders tunahusisha wale watu sasa ambao wanahusika na hizo mining activity. Na sio tu wale, hata wale wa ngazi zile ambazo wenyewe wana participate katika hiyo mining activity. This involving the local stakeholders in decision making processes regarding waste management strategies promotes better outcome for both the environment and the community. Kwa hiyo stakeholders tunazungumzia wale watu sasa. Involvement of the stakeholders, particularly katika swala nzima la kufanya maamuzi kulingana na hizo njia za kuprotect those kind of waste, lakini pia kwa kuhakikisha kwamba kunakuwa na best outcome toward the environment, lakini pia katika jamii kwa ujumla. And the last best way au last method au technique ambayo inaweza kusave katika environmental pollution, kuavoid those kind of environmental pollution kulingana na shughuli za mining ni rehabilitation of mining site. Hii ni point ya 6, rehabilitation and mining site. Sasa hapa kwenye rehabilitation and mining site tunaangalia vitu gani? So you can see that after mining operation cease, rehabilitating disturbed area is vital. Kwamba mmeshachimba madini, ile eneo mmelitumia mnavyoweza, sasa pale mmeona kwamba huu ndio ukomo wa kuendelea kuchimba madini sehemu fulani. So the rehabilitating, yani ile coverage lazima ifanyike. How? We can see that there is land restoration technique. Kwa mfano ile kanuni ya kata mti panda mti, ndio hiki ambacho kinafanyika hapa. Kwamba there is land restoration technique whereby implementing the techniques such as reforestation or soil amendment help restore ecosystem affected by mining activity, reducing long-term pollution risk. Kwa hiyo unaweza ukafanya hiyo reforestation, upandaji wa miti, then that land can be restored or recovered again. But also we have monitoring post-mining activity. Post-mining activity. How we can monitor it? So ongoing monitoring of rehabilitated site ensure that any residual pollution is managed effectively over time. Kwamba yale mabaki yale ambayo ilibaki pale kwenye ile eneo ambayo ni waste, so it should be managed or it should be managed effectively over that time. Yasiachwe tu pale yakaendelea kuleta madhara and so forth. So my students, that is all about our session for today. I hope this question is now clear for you, and I would like to say this marks the end of our discussion. Thank you so much. Have a nice moment.